mawuqala nje uthi mhlambe uyakhuluma nabo batshela ukuthi ngishade umuntu okanjani kanjani yabona uzobeza noma bengakhulumi nawe straight umuntu but uzokhuluma nje engathi ukhulumela nje nomunye umuntu yabona.
Marriages that cross borders and cultures face many difficulties, not least an administrative system that borders on violating basic human rights and freedoms.
The migrants who are married to South African citizens themselves struggling to have their documentation.
And when these couples have children, documenting the children becomes an even bigger problem.
Requiring DNA for a birth certificate is very irregular. As far as I know, we are the only country in the world that asks for DNA.
From 1998 to 2003, government forces supported by Angola, Namibia and Zimbabwe fought rebels backed by Uganda and Rwanda in what is now known as the Second Congo War. By 2008, the war and its aftermath had killed 5.4 million people, mostly from disease and starvation, making the Second Congo War the deadliest conflict worldwide since World War II. Millions more were displaced from their homes or sought asylum in neighboring countries. In September of 2001, Christophe Kulemfuka was also affected by the war when he was a university student. He fled the DRC and came to South Africa hoping for a better life.
In 2001, when we were at university, things were really getting worse because that time Kabila was in power. So we're having, the political situation wasn't, even social, it was not really stable. Things were very difficult, like at university sometimes they used to recruit students for army, things like this, to go defend, because the country was not really stable. When I came to the country, I was not carrying a visa, I was having a travel document, because I didn't even have a passport. There was no time like to have a passport because things were really upside down. So I was having my student card with me. My vision was to study. That was my vision, to continue my studying. And I ended up finding myself in South Africa in the case to look for a refuge because I know it was a better country where there was peace.
He says when he arrived in South Africa, he went directly to the Department of Home Affairs to sort out his paperwork.
So when I arrived, the asylum seeker, the one was granted to me, did allow me to work and study.
The process of legalizing his stay in the country wasn't easy.
It was very, very hard for us. Especially for me, it was very hard. Because the fact of you going there, you must find yourself on the line, on the queue, waiting for the office to open. Really, there was no order. It was very difficult. It was very hard.
But it was not all doom and gloom. After years of being in the country, Christophe found love in South Africa.
I met my beautiful one in 2008. I was staying Blue Boss Rank, is in Randburg side. She was coming to work as a nail technician. She was doing nails, pedicure, whatever, things like that.
They both look back and reminisce at the struggles that Christophe underwent to make a better life for himself in a foreign land.
What he was doing at that time, he was not really working, but he was just merely trying to make ends meet. And most of that time he was doing this car guard thing, you know what I mean? So he's just like one of those hard-working guys.
Actually, when I came here, I didn't have, the way I say, I didn't have enough money like to go to varsity again or colleges, things like that. But I do go to training. I train myself. I used to be a forklift driver. In that field also, things were difficult, whatever, to get employment. To go through challenges, I did create a lot of things in me. So okay, it's fine. If I'm not able in this field, I don't get opportunity, let me take another field.
When Christoph's asylum seeker permit came out, Home Affairs had opposed his name for a surname, and when the couple had their first 2 children, they couldn't register the children using his details, so the children ended up registered on their mother's surname.
Kulemfoka became a first name and Kitana Christoph became a surname. It's because things were a little bit tough there and there were many people inside. I did explain to them, no, because there was another guy who was translating. I showed him my paper, I said, no, this is the asylum seeker they did grant me. And when he checked, he said, no, wait, is it Kulemfoka your first name? He said, no, Kulemfoka is my surname. It's like, in French we say name. So it was a little bit difficult. He said, no, there's a mistake here. They did change your surname became a name, your first name, and then the first name became a name. So there was no way for them again to reprint another one because it was tough. So when I met Vinolia, I was still using the paper in that condition.
He's been on the country from 2001. I only met him in 2008. So yes, he's been using that ever since.
The couple then wanted to get married, but they couldn't until his asylum seeker permit was corrected.
When we decided to get married, was also a problem. Why? Because Vinolia will end up taking Kitana Christoph as a surname. And we went even to Home Affairs, even other officials said, no. If you get married and she take Kitana Christoph as your surname, it will be again another problem to change again, to reverse. So the better things, you must sort out your paper. And when your name become correct, and then from there you guys can go through marriage. So I tell my wife, it's fine, let's try. Let me try to get a passport because this is not gonna work. I try, we did save really. Go through hard time, but make a saving. We send money, and then luckily my passport was out. When my passport came out, we apply for a spouse now. When we did apply for the spouse was rejected first.
On what grounds?
They give us a reason to say, on the supporting, like in a financial way, they wanted me to see my support financially. But with Asylum Seeker, I was not allowed to open an account.
Mark Buffo is the chairperson of the African Diaspora Forum. He says there are contradictions in the requirements for refugees in South Africa.
You go to Home Affairs, for instance, you'll have an asylum seeker's permit. You go to a bank, the bank will tell you, no, we don't use this permit. And we say, this is the permit that government is producing, is giving to people. Why the bank doesn't, is like government is giving a permit that the bank doesn't want, which is very strange. Many banks don't use the asylum seeker's permit. And the asylum seeker's permit is allowing you to work, meaning that you're getting paid. But this money mustn't go to the bank. You must fund yourself to get it cash and keep it where you can.
So the lawyer was like requesting, now make a request, no. How can you ask the support on Christoph's side because he's using an asylum? And that section 22 doesn't allow him to have a bank account. And after that, it was, no, she really fight for. She go through a lot. She went through a lot.
The African Diaspora Forum is an organization that deals with problems of immigrants like xenophobia and their treatment by authorities when they require documentation. Many people come to South Africa because of instability in their countries.
And the government are chasing their own people. There are wars out there in our continent. People are coming to this country because they're running away from the war zones. People are coming here, some for study reasons. Some are coming here because they seek medical facilities which they don't have in the country. They come here because South Africa, we are fortunate that South Africa is doing well in the continent. So there are quite a number of reasons why people come here.
Chris and Vanolia had a problem registering their first 2 children under the father's surname, despite the fact that when they had their 3rd child, they were already married, and Christoph's asylum seeker's permit was corrected. They still experienced problems registering their child.
So at least I said, okay, maybe this one, the 3rd one, I'll be lucky to, you can have my surname. So when we arrived there, they said, no, we can't grant you. We can't grant your baby your surname. Your baby cannot have your surname. You must go through DNA, prove you are the father, and then we're gonna give your son your surname. I'm not working. So she must supposed to pay the rent, pay school fees, pay the crèche for the kid. And where else can you go get the money for the DNA? And when we go try to go ask for the DNA test, it's costly.
Asking for a DNA test for me felt like they're like, it's being I don't know what they're subjecting me to, because I'm with Chris every day of my life. I've never went out of my marriage, or I mean, for them now to want me to prove that Chris is the father of my children. So I've done the codes. It's about 5,000 rand that I need to pay, which I don't have.
Liesel Miller from the Lawyers for Human Rights explains the problems concerning DNA testing.
Requiring DNA for a birth certificate is very irregular. As far as I know, we are the only country in the world that asks for DNA on a mass scale like this. So we talked about this DNA circular where Home Affairs is now requiring all children who are not registered within 30 days, if they have one foreign parent, they must do a DNA test. Now, firstly, there is a right to privacy there and to bodily autonomy.
And the department knows very well that to do the DNA test is very, very costly. And if you take the case of a family which is not working, is a challenge. Either the department can take upon themselves to pay the cost of that DNA test, but they don't. They're asking you to go and struggle.
Yet another setback for the couple. When their 3rd child was born, there were complications and doctors discovered that the child needed to undergo surgery, but without a birth certificate, it would not be possible.
And there was no way for us to put him, include him on the medical aid, because he was not having a birth certificate.
At the time when they did all the routine checkup scans, everything, whatever that they did, they found that unfortunately for him, his testicles didn't descend like they should normally, like on a normal child. So obviously what the pediatrician said at the time was, they'll give it about 9 months to see if automatically on their own they have, went down, which unfortunately in his case, they were not. But then also at the time I had thought, okay, he will be registered, he will be on medical aid. Obviously at 9 months, if they didn't descend like normally as they should, then they will do a quick procedure just to correct that. But unfortunately with my son, he didn't have documents then. He was just a stateless child because of this DNA issue that keeps on popping up every now and then.
Vanolia says she decided to send a message to the then Minister of Home Affairs, Malusi Gigaba, hoping for answers.
I even tweeted the ones who was the minister, Malusi Gigaba, on Twitter. I got emotional and the things that I wrote were not nice. So probably it sank in and he felt that, let me respond. He responded by saying his office will contact me. That was in 2015. My son was 9 months, which means had he assisted me then, I blame him for all where I'm sitting now. He can be sitting there now, he's the Minister of Finance, but I blame him for all of this. Because had he assisted me when he said his office will contact me in 2015, I wouldn't be sitting in the dilemma that I'm sitting. At 9 months, the boy could have had surgery.
Chris says he prays for the day when he will be able to provide for his family, but failure to secure a working permit makes this but a vain dream.
I want to support my family. I'm a man. I must wake up in the morning, go out, look for bread. I must make sure their school fees is paid. I must make sure they must have clothes. I must make sure everything, the little, I can say, no matter I cannot afford, but the little I must provide for them as a father.
Just like Chris, Oscar Ngoyi, 24 years old at the time, fled the DRC and came to South Africa.
Remember, between 2000 and 2005, our country was going through a serious issues with war. As a result, nothing was going well. There were no jobs, and the war was keep coming on. Nobody was actually sure as to what to do. So I had to move for a better place and greener pastures elsewhere. Then, since Zambia wasn't taking refugees, then we had to pass through Zambia and get to Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe as well was also getting done. They weren't taking refugees anymore. So the last country I could drive to was South Africa.
Oscar also says he bemoans what he says are the inefficiency in the Home Affairs system. He would spend weeks queuing outside the Home Affairs offices to get his paperwork.
I remember to have spent about a week at the Home Affairs, slept in a queue for a week. And there was, we only got to get inside the Home Affairs because on a Sunday, one of the Home Affairs officials was driving by, and he saw there were children all over there, sleeping on the road, and it was raining. Then she took our names. Then we got a chance to get inside on a Monday. It was terrible.
What were the challenges he faced when he arrived in South Africa?
The biggest thing that I first wanted was to get to be able to express myself. Because I knew after expressing myself, nothing was going to be impossible, which is true, because when you see from where I've been, starting from a car guard up to where I am right now, it's been a life of belief and knowing that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
In 2007, Oscar found love over the phone.
I was working for a certain company in KSN. She also worked for a company that was in Sandton, because those two companies somehow were communicating and exchanging alarm system. That's when I fell in love with her voice. I started communicating with her, and we ended up meeting. And then the rest is history.
Angifuna ukuqamba manga nami ngiqale nga-rejecta because there was that, when ubuya eNatali especially kakhulu umZulu kunalento yokuthi ungifunani, uyabona. And then when times goes by, ngabona ukuthi uloku uyangifonela and uyapersista and uyangitshela ukuthi uyangithanda. Yeah, nami ke I fell in love.
Hundreds of immigrants in South Africa face challenges, and their children have also become casualties of the inability of Home Affairs to effectively deal with the applications of their parents. Just like many cross-border couples, Oscar and Tabile says they have had their fair share of challenges, ranging from legal battles, discrimination and name-calling. The couple welcomed their first child in 2009, but trying to register the baby in his father's surname proved impossible.
Ama-challenges abe maningi kakhulu kangangokuthi into yokuqala nje mangiyomthola esibhedlela amanesi ayangitshela straight ukuthi awafuni igama likababa bomntwana since ubaba bomntwana kuwangaphandle azomregister nge-ID yami kuphela because bengiyiphethe ilona i-permit yakhe ngaleso sikhathi, bathi abayifuni bamregister nge-ID number yami. After that 2011 sazama ukuthi sibuyele eHome Affairs siyozama ukuthi sichange isename yomntwana because mina nami bengifuna ukuthi umntwana amashintsha abize ngesename kababa wakhe. And then saya eRandburg Home Affairs sa register basinikeza bathi sibhadare 70 rand ye-application sa apply. I think kwakufanele ukuthi ithathe 6 weeks ukuthi ibuye back.
The reality is that when you go to Home Affairs and they realize that you as the parent, one of the parents is not South African, then you have all the problem. They're asking you some documentation that they know is difficult for you.
After years of follow-ups on the birth certificate application process, only in 2014 were they told about the requirements, which involved DNA sampling.
Okay, 2011 akunamuntu oyasitshela nge-DNA test ngoba I think umthetho wakhona bongakaphasi or bongakabibikho ngaleso sikhathi. Mas apply kuke ngathi nje siya apply bazoshintsha isenimi yomntwana. And then masilokhu silandela 2011, 2012, 2013 umntwana still isenimi yakhe akashintshi. Siyabona ukuthi umntwana sezoza esikoleni manje. Uyabona lokho ibiza isenimi yami. Okay, sayilandelela ke le ndaba le saphindela saya khona. I think it was angisakhumbuli kahle umnyaka ukuthi bekuba kodwa I think it was 2013 or 2014. Ilapho bafike basitshela khona la eRandburg ukuthi kufuneka i-DNA test since ubaba womntwana kuwa ngaphandle. Lo engakhuluma nangitshela straight ukuthi ama foreigners bantshontsha abantwana baclaim ukuthi abantwana ababo ngoba befuna ama paper okuhlala la mase kufike pointini ukuthi fanele ukuthi sibhadare imali 2. Bangitshela ukuthi 2.8 okufanele ukuthi siyibhadare sihambe sokwenza lo DNA test.
I'm saying the child is mine. If they have got any doubt, they should then take me through the process. They must cover the fees. Then if I would have understood in ways that if the child is not mine, then I'm going to be held liable. If the child is mine, why should I pay?
The only reason why Home Affairs could deny in terms of the law to add the father is if he didn't have a valid document. And as far he seems to have all his documents in order, and so there's no reason why they can't put him on the birth certificate.
Tabile is concerned about the impact of this on her oldest son, whom she says has started asking about his different surname. Oscar's problems are compounded. The spousal visa that allows him to stay with his wife in South Africa has just expired, and it has yet to be renewed. In addition, that spousal visa doesn't allow immigrants to work, and now with it having expired, it means that he can be deported anytime, leaving his family behind. Before it expired, he tried to renew it without success.
If I'm an Home Affairs official, then I've got when you check on the VFS website, it says offer of employment. Someone has given me an offer of employment because when we submit, there's a tick list that we've ticked, and the quality control of VFS is checked to say that everything that's required has been submitted. Then there's a company details on there. There's a VAT number. There's everything that's a company supplied. And a director of the company went as far as giving his personal cell phone numbers in case of any issues. They must call to confirm. It was a phone call away, but the guy rejected the permit.
Ngicabanga ukuthi mina bayenza ngamabomu. Bayenza nje ngamakhulu amabomu. Ukuthi benze impilo zabo zibe nzima.
But what does having his visa rejected mean?
Right now, then I have to make sure that I'm walking away from the police, because it's not every single police officer that will understand that there's an application pending. I might just sleep in a cell before they can realize that there's an application pending. And I'm not allowed to lose my bank card. Then if for some reason my bank card is lost, then I can have access to my fund.
How has the African Diaspora Forum tried to address the problems that migrant fathers have regarding their documentation?
Look, we wrote a letter to the Minister of Home Affairs, wanting to meet with the Minister to try and talk to these issues, because it will help South Africa to be able to trace the people who are here. But unfortunately, we didn't get even a response from the Minister's office. We've been communicating with, not communicating, but we sent a correspondence to the Minister. They didn't answer. So we wanted to try and find a solution, because really, if we don't address it, the problem will be there. But unfortunately, we didn't get an answer.
The Department of Home Affairs said they were still investigating these cases, but were not available for an interview until the investigations are done. South Africa is a signatory to the international human rights instruments, but in practice, hundreds of immigrants continue to struggle to regularize their stay in the country. It remains to be seen what will be the fate of these immigrants and their families as they try to survive one day at a time.